Newsflash, sports fans, I'm 100% on my picks this year, so maybe pay attention.
It's simple. We love college football, we love ridiculous food, so let's pick some huge games against the spread every week and eat until it hurts. It's easy call.
It is week 3. I'm at the delicious Black Seed Bagels in the Lower East Side. We're getting into matchups, we're getting into ridiculous bagels. Let's get started with the headliner. Georgia going to South Carolina. And even though they're on the road, 6.5-point favorites, keys for the Dogs. They're on that road. It's a tough place to play. Even though South Carolina hasn't looked great early, still a tough place to play, especially for a new quarterback. Number 2, the running backs. They've got Nick Chubb. They've got Keith Marshall. And oh yes, they have Todd Gurley, the best running back in the nation. Don't overthink it. And finally, the defensive front for Georgia needs to come through because South Carolina is going to give the ball to Mike Davis. Wrap them up. If they can't run, they're not doing much. Keys for South Carolina. They need to be able to run the ball with Mike Davis. Easier said than done, but if they can get Dylan Thompson to like 3rd and 4, big win. Next key, their defensive front needs to be able to wrap up Keith Marshall, Nick Chubb, and of course Todd Gurley, because it's going to be a long-ass day if they don't, because that's how you win on the road. And final key, balance. If they're able to get Mike Davis working on the ground and then pop some play action deep to those fast receivers, they're keeping it close. They have a chance at home. I like South Carolina, just not enough. I'm going to go 34-24 Dogs. I think they cover on the road. Yeah, about 10 points seems right. It's Georgia. Now, it is time for the classic. The number 1, we've got an everything bagel, sandwich, lox, onions, capers, cream cheese. There's a reason why it's the classic. I'm going to get into it shortly. We've got a game, a neutral site game in Arlington, Texas, UCLA. A couple disappointing teams, but here's the thing. UCLA, 7.5-point favorites going all the way to Arlington. Keys for UCLA, it's the road. They came out flat game 1. On the what? On the road. Number 2, the offensive line. Jake Brendel's back. Huge addition to a line that has struggled. Need to be able to run the ball. Great news, they get Texas front. And finally, the defensive front for UCLA. If Texas can do anything successfully, it's going to be on the ground. UCLA has the capability to shut them down. Keys for the Horns. Coaching. Can Charlie Strong and his staff get this team to rebound after a really disappointing week against BYU? Next for the Horns, their running backs. If they're going to succeed offensively, it's going to be on the backs of Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray. I like Tyrone Swoops, kind of, but he's not winning this game in the pocket. And finally, the secondary for Texas. I like UCLA as a team a lot, not crazy about their offensive skill, talent. Shut them down on the outside, take chances. You can keep this close, Longhorns, but you're probably not going to because your team is a mess. I'm going UCLA here by a couple touchdowns. Let's call it 28-13. Bruins in Texas. I think they get their stuff together a little bit. But that's enough about college football because I have food in front of me. I have Stumptown coffee, so go Ducks. But salty, sweet, creamy, everything is happening. Difference between a Montreal bagel and a New York bagel, by the way. A little denser, a little bit sweeter, a little smaller, but a bigger hole. Unbelievable. Silky smooth, wow. The crunch, the creaminess. I can't say enough good things. Next game, Tennessee, Oklahoma. The Sooners 21-point favorites at home. This is a fun one. Actually, get this out of my way because we're gonna get real fun with it. Keys for Tennessee, the offensive line needs to show up. They're inexperienced. They need to get to 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4. Next, it's a road spot. Don't beat yourselves. Oklahoma's quite good. They can beat you on their own. Don't make the huge mistakes. And finally, speed. Tennessee's young, but they have fast dudes on the outside. Get the ball to them in creative ways. Hope for busted plays. Keep the game competitive. It's a thing. Next, for Oklahoma, their keys, X's and O's. Don't overthink it. Tennessee not doing a great job stopping the run. Go at them. Just keep going, keep forward all day. Next, their defensive front needs to just basically dare Tennessee to run the ball. Just dare them. Just to keep safeties back. Tennessee pretty good at throwing the ball. Do that. And final key for OU, their health. If Zach Sanchez is able to go for the Sooners, their corners, their secondary become very, very good against a Tennessee team that wants to throw the ball and for the Big 12 schedule as a whole. I like Tennessee. They're not there yet. Oklahoma is my pick to cover. I think it's spicy for a little while. The pick is the Sooners. Much like my pick, I'm so excited for this. It seems straightforward. Bacon, egg, and cheese on a sesame bagel. It's a classic. It's an all-time New York classic. Bacon, thick, lovable, like me. Egg, runny, cheesy. No seeds, white seeds and black seed, but I'll accept it. Not too greasy at all. I would see you in the morning. Yeah, I would. Next, and this could be secretly the best game of the weekend, or at least the most exciting, intriguing game. Virginia Tech 10-point favorites hosting ECU, a really dangerous ECU team. Keys for the Pirates. Number 1, the road. Lane Stadium's a tough place to play, but Michael Brewer, Virginia Tech quarterback, is pickable. Take some chances, shift momentum. Next, the running game for ECU. They don't run it a ton, really barely at all, but when they do, they've been very successful. So quiet that crowd. And the next key, the quarterback position for ECU. Shane Carden, amazing, be amazing. Who's a better quarterback on Virginia Tech's schedule? I'll wait. Anybody? Anybody? That's what I thought. Here, get this out of my way before I talk about the Hokies. Keys for Virginia Tech, coaching. Huge win on the road last week against Ohio State. Keep this team up because ECU is dangerous. Second key, their secondary. ECU is going to put that secondary, Kendall Fuller is great, but in a ton of space on a ton of islands. You gotta make plays. You gotta turn a 6-yard catch into like a 7-yard catch. Make those tackles. And finally, the offensive line for Virginia Tech, an experienced unit, run the ball well. Keep that ECU offense off the field, slow that game down. The pick here is ECU to cover, Virginia Tech to win close, 28-27, 28-24, somewhere in there. I think ECU makes this dangerous, almost as dangerous. Pizza bagels. You heard me. I'll say it slower. Pizza bagels. According to the space-time continuum, if pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime. The time is right. The time is now. I'm so happy. I'm really... Have you ever had a pizza bagel? It's exactly like you remember, but only better.
Let the bass kick.
Final game, and the secretly entertaining factor, pretty high with this one. Arkansas going on the road to Lubbock and Texas Tech. Texas Tech 3-point favorites, but not looking so good early on in the season. Keys for Arkansas, it's the road. Lubbock is a difficult place, less so if the running backs are working it. Next, those running backs go straight at this Texas Tech defense. They're vulnerable, they're thin. Just don't overthink it with those running backs. And finally, the secondary for the Hogs needs to be very good. You know what Texas Tech wants to do. They want to throw the ball all over the field. Make tackles in the open field. That's easier said than done, but do it against Texas Tech. Keys for the Red Raiders. Coaching. Texas Tech has played down to 2 opponents this year. Arkansas is not great. You can play down to Arkansas and lose this game easily. Easily. Next, quarterback. Throw the ball on Arkansas. Their defense isn't great. Davis Webb's not Nick Marshall, who succeeded against Arkansas, but he can still make things happen. And the final key for Texas Tech, get pressure on Brandon Allen. He's a decent quarterback. He's been efficient so far, but he's maybe beating you. Alex Collins and Jonathan Williams are definitely beating you if they get their way. Force that. I'm gonna go with the pick here. I'm gonna go Arkansas outright, 30-27. I'm feeling saucy, like the sauce on this pizza bagel in front of me. And so I'm going Hogs. Woo Hogs, woo bagels. And on that very ridiculous note, let's go bagel power rankings. Number 1, onion, a classic. I respect the focus. Everything's great, it can be too much sometimes. Number 2, blueberry. Went back and forth with cinnamon raisin and blueberry, but I respect bloobs, and I like saying bloobs. Number 3, sesame. I like the crunch. It's a higher crunch level than onion. I just had a sesame bagel. That spoke for itself. Number 4, everything. I respect that you got that much on a bagel. It's delicious. You have to be in the right mood. And number 5, we're going West Coast with this, sourdough. How about that? Versatile, delicious, everything I want it to be. All right, those are the picks. Georgia, UCLA, Oklahoma, ECU, Arkansas outright. Once again, 100% on the season. Just 100% wrong, but that's a thing. The food has been good, so we'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks for watching this SB Nation video. If you liked it, do us a solid and click that thumbs up button. And for more from SB Nation, subscribe to our channel. And while you're at it, how about watching one of these videos over here? Come on, what else are you doing today? Click it. Go.